Welcome to the replay for Double Up Trivia for September 13th, 2020. In this video, I'm not going to go over the rules and how Double Up Trivia works in the actual live event. The actual live event is every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/yearofglad. If you want to know exactly how the scoring and the rules work, you can go look at some of the earlier videos on this channel. But for this video, we're just going to take a look at the questions and answers from the event from September 13th. Round 1, question number 1. What singer who found fame on Nickelodeon's Victorious was the first solo artist to have songs in all 3 of the top spots of the Billboard Hot 100 simultaneously, a feat which occurred the week of February 23rd, 2019? And I'll just give a few seconds. If you need more time, go ahead and pause the video. The answer for this question: that singer is Ariana Grande, and those 3 songs were Thank You Next, 7 Rings, and Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. Round 1, question number 2. In this modified cover from Time, what word has been removed from the question below the rightmost face? And here is where the word was removed. And that removed word makes the question, is feminism dead? Ally McBeal was criticized for being annoying, flighty, emotionally unstable, wearing short skirts, and having a poor grasp of the law. Round 1, question number 3. Siskel and Ebert and the Movies became Roger Ebert and the Movies after the passing of Gene Siskel in 1999. The show's title changed again in 2000 to include the name of what movie critic chosen by Ebert to take Siskel's place? That chosen movie critic was Richard Roeper. And between the time that Siskel died and Roeper took his place, many co-hosts substituted, including Harry Knowles, Peter Bogdanovich, and Martin Scorsese. Round 1, question number 4. What titular gentleman's life and opinions are described in a 9-volume work of fiction by Lawrence Stern, originally published between 1759 and 1767? That person is Tristram Shandy. And the book about Tristram Shandy is a metafictional work in which the narrator attempts to write his autobiography but constantly digresses, failing to even reach his own birth until Volume 3. Round 1, question number 5. After the defeat of Napoleon, the French monarchy returned to power from April 1814 to July 1830, a period known as the Blank Restoration. What word, the name of the royal house to which the monarchy belonged, fills in the blank? And that word, the name of the house, is Bourbon, and the Bourbon Restoration was briefly interrupted by Napoleon's return from exile, which ended with the Battle of Waterloo. Round 1, question number 6. Klaus and Sonny Baudelaire, 2 of the main characters in Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, are named after a real-life couple. With what last name? And those 2 characters, Klaus and Sonny, were named after Klaus and Sonny von Bülow, who were portrayed by Jeremy Irons and Glenn Close in 1990's Reversal of Fortune. Round 1, question number 7. Cap, leg of mutton, dolman, batwing, and Gibson girl are all types of what sartorial object? Those are all different types or different styles of sleeve. Round 1, question number 8. What magazine, available in a print version until 1995 and digitally for 2 years after, published short stories by Orson Scott Card and William Gibson, helped popularize the work of H.R. Geiger, and was co-founded by Bob Guccione 13 years after he founded Penthouse? And that magazine was Omni, which ceased publication upon the death of its other co-founder, Kathy Keaton, who was Bob Guccione's wife. That brings us to the swordplay round. So in the swordplay round, there are 3 questions that are kind of a before and after style. They share the answer to the first question, share some letters with the beginning of the answer to the second question. And if you take all the shared letters from all three pairs of clues and you mix them up, you get, in this case, the title of a Best Picture winner. So the first set of clues in the swordplay round is Georgia novelist with only one novel published in her lifetime, plus one of the inspirations for Billy Joel's Uptown Girl. There I'm looking for a first and last name, and there are 3 overlapping letters, so in other words, the last 3 letters of the Georgia novelist are the first 3 letters of one of the inspirations for Billy Joel's Uptown Girl. Question number 2, instrument similar to the accordion, plus ceremony usually undertaken at noon Eastern Standard Time on January 20th. Again, there are 3 overlapping letters, so the last 3 letters in the instrument are the first 3 letters in the ceremony. And finally, jazz singer nicknamed Sassy, who achieved stardom in the late 40s, plus festival that begins on 25 Kislev and ends on 2 or 3 Tevet. And again, there are 3 letters at the end of the jazz singer that are the first 3 letters in the festival. And if you take all 9 of those letters and rearrange them, you get a Best Picture winner. And let's take a look at the answers for each of the swordplay clues as well as the final anagram. The Georgia novelist is Margaret Mitchell, and one of the inspirations for Uptown Girl was Elle Macpherson, and they share the letters E-L-L. The instrument similar to the accordion is the concertina, and the January 20th ceremony is the inauguration. They share the letters I-N-A. And finally, the jazz singer nicknamed Sassy was Sarah Vaughan, and the festival is Hanukkah. They share the letters H-A-N, and if you take the 9 underlined letters and rearrange them, you get Annie Hall. Round 2 is exactly the same as round 1. 8 questions, the first of which is, what person holds the same unique distinction with respect to Vladimir Putin that Benjamin Harrison does with respect to Grover Cleveland? And that person is Dmitry Medvedev, who was the president of Russia between Putin's 2 non-consecutive terms, just as Benjamin Harrison was the president of the U.S. between Grover Cleveland's 2 non-consecutive terms. Round 2, question 2, the name of what neighborhood was coined by Chester Rapkin, the author of a work titled The South Houston Industrial Area? And that neighborhood comes from the first letters in South and the first 2 letters in Houston, that is Soho. Round 2, question number 3. In 2003, Yugoslavia changed from a federal republic to a political union abbreviated SUSM. The first 2 letters of the acronym stood for State Union. What did the last 2 letters in the acronym stand for? And those 2 letters stood for Serbia and Montenegro. And that political union ceased to exist in 2006 when Montenegro withdrew and gained its independence. What National League baseball player ended his career with a .338 batting average, the highest of any player who started playing after 1939, and only struck out 3 times in a single game, once in his 20-year career? That baseball player was the incomparable Tony Gwynn, who could have finished his career by going 0 for 1,172, and he still would have been a .300 career hitter. Round 2, question number 5. The name of what popular website is a synonym for fasciculation, a common physiological condition that occurs in more than 70% of people? That popular website is the website on which Double Up Trivia streams every Sunday at twitch.tv/yearofglad. It is Twitch. A fasciculation is simply a muscle twitch. Round 2, question 6. What 4-letter word describes the tidal phenomenon in which an incoming tide forces water up a river against the river's natural flow? That 4-letter word and that phenomenon is a tidal bore. which can be a single wave or a series of waves called whelps. Round 2, question number 7. Actor Ryan Reynolds is a stakeholder in what brand of gin, first produced in Portland, Oregon, that was sold to Diageo in 2020 for more than $335 million? That brand of gin is Aviation Gin, which got a 97-point rating from Wine Enthusiast, the highest rating that magazine has ever given to a gin. In round 2, question 8. An annual off-road endurance rally, first staged in 1978, went from a European city to an African city for most of its first 30 years, until the event had to be moved due to security risks in Mauritania. In what city did the rally finish for most of its first 30 years? And for bonus points, contestants were able to answer, in what city did the rally begin for most of its first 30 years? And here, the rally finished in Dakar, Senegal, and began in Paris, France for most of its first 30 years. Since then, it's been held in South America, and this past year it was held in Saudi Arabia. In round 3, the final round of Double Up Trivia, this week there are 10 clues, and they all share a common theme. The clues are presented in a random order, and teams were asked to give 5 of the 10 answers, and their 5 answers were scored based on how common or rare their answers were. The clues this week: New York City Jesuit University with main campuses in the Bronx, Manhattan, and Westchester. Small spherical chocolate candies typically sold in cellophane tubes. Hyphenated neighborhood adjacent to Buena Vista Park and Ashbury Heights. Canary Island that was the site of a 1977 on-runway collision with 583 fatalities. Royal ruler buried in KV-62. Toxin possibly responsible for the deaths of Alexander the Great and blues singer Robert Johnson. Cognitive abilities test utilized by the U.S. Armed Forces and the NFL. Innovative documentary, followed by related documentaries in 1970, 1977, 1984, and so on. Sports term trademarked by Pat Riley, and first name of immigrant son of Papa and Mama Moskowitz. So teams were given 6 or 7 minutes to come up with at least 5 of the answers for these 10 clues. Again, the clues or the answers do share a common theme. Let's go ahead and take a look at the answers. In kind of in order of the theme, the first answer, the cognitive abilities test, is the Wunderlich. The royal ruler buried in KV-62 is Tutankhamun. The sports term trademarked by Pat Riley is three-peat, so we have 1, 2, 3. The New York City Jesuit University is Fordham. The first name of immigrant son of Papa and Mama Moskowitz from An American Tail was Fievel. The small spherical chocolate candies are Sixlets. The innovative documentary series, which had follow-up documentaries every 7 years, was known as 7 Up. The hyphenated neighborhood, adjacent to Buena Vista Park and to Ashbury Heights, is Haight-Ashbury. The toxin, possibly responsible for the deaths of Alexander the Great and blues singer Robert Johnson, is strychnine. And finally, the Canary Island of note is Tenerife. So we have the numbers 1 through 10 in our 10 answers. And that is the end of this week's replay of Double Up Trivia. Again, feel free to join the live event. It is every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/yearofglad. It's free to play. It takes about an hour to play. There's no prizes, but show up, learn something new, and have some fun just hanging out. Thanks. See you next week.